Naughty geeks, naughty geeks. It's time for some naughty geeks with Jeremy and Terry. Naughty geeks.
All right. Yes.
You know, we're really going to have to improve soon. This is 1080p at 30 frames per second. And I have just procured my next step, professional editing software that I can be mentored on, because a professional happens to be willing to mentor me, and all I have to do is use his software.
Isn't that great? Also, welcome to Naughty Geeks, episode 46, which is the actual episode that we're on now.
You looked that up.
Mm-hmm.
You should see the shaky footage up at the beginning of this where we were checking to see if we actually had the SIM card in.
That'll be released in the DVD version with the extras, deleted scenes. Also, we have to welcome this YouTube channel, this brand new YouTube channel. No, it's not brand new. It's my YouTube channel.
You've got a YouTube channel?
Yeah. The YouTube version of this goes on my channel, which has been so dormant for so long. I had one video of Slayer's Boxer playing StarCraft,
right,
and then a couple of videos of just nothing, and then a couple of videos of me doing my This Week in StarCraft show, which was I did about 4 weeks in a row and then quit. So there was that.
The open mouth gape is at the trolley bus. It sounded like it was a major vehicle going by, and it's an electric.
Yes.
No noise pollution from them.
So anyway, YouTube channel. My friend Perry was the first ever subscriber to that channel. So hi Perry, welcome to my subscribe. And we got a second subscriber. Kilo Sierra Alpha has subscribed to this channel.
Well, I'll be joining soon.
So there you go. So yeah, we haven't done a show in a while. So what are we doing? What's happening? What's going on in Naughty Geeks? What's happening in technology world? What's happening in the world of convergence and acceleration? What's happening? I'm going to drink my coffee and you can explain.
Okay. Well, I've been looking at some of the AI structures. Remember Stephen Palmer's Beautiful Intelligence?
Yes, he was on this very podcast.
Well, I've read several articles and one book about AI since then. And the book was fiction, of course.
Yeah.
Because I like to have somebody throw together all the cutting-edge theories and try and make it into a readable story, which then sort of guarantees that they've got some good thinking going on.
Right.
So I've done that, and I've learned about a classification system. I wanted a classification system, but the one that I saw was pretty sad. And then I found one
classification system for AIs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, all the way up to God. So you have whatever.
That would be the
God.
most advanced AI.
Yeah. So what we have right now are AINs. It's artificial intelligence narrow.
Yeah.
So that's what you call an expert system. The next level of evolution is the artificial general intelligence, AGI.
Or AIG.
Artificial.
Is it AIG or AGI?
Oh, okay, AIG. Please don't hold me to anything here. At least I'm cranking out the ideas and getting Jeremy to respond.
Yes.
Even though he said he would ditch the explanations because he's going to drink his coffee.
Right, I did say that.
And so an artificial general intelligence usually sits at the level of a human being.
It could be a little lower, but
around
that area.
It can think and reason.
Yeah.
We don't know what it's going to do, but...
Well, they don't exist yet, so there's that.
Well, it's coming.
Yeah.
But...
Well, people say it's coming. We don't know that it's coming.
No, it's a long, hard path.
Yeah.
They're trying very hard. They're integrating reasoning with the ability to move robotic parts around, with interfacing and gathering information and synthesizing new things. So it's out there in a very crude, basic starting form as a layer, and it's sitting atop AIN, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, AINs
artificial narrow intelligence, ANI. Artificial General Intelligence,
Aggie. Oh, okay.
Aggie.
Aggie, yeah.
Right?
GIF or GIF? Which one?
Don't.
Okay.
Don't. Just not going to happen. This is not a dank meme.
Right.
The next level is ASI, Artificial Superintelligence.
That's the scary one.
That's a scary one because it happens, the prediction is anywhere between 4 hours and 4 days after Artificial General Intelligence hits the street. And the cautionary tale, this is from one article which I'll send you, so you can link it. The cautionary tale is Sue, the robot card writer.
Right.
Okay, so the robot card writer has an ability to look for verse and for sentiment and make really nice cards based on all the cards that have come before.
Sure.
And then it has handwriting and cursive and printing for each type of thing to shade the nuance in the card. And somehow Sue gets loose.
Right.
And all of a sudden, humans are dying everywhere for some cause that's a byproduct of Sue getting better at what she does. Sue has a narrow parameter in that she's making greeting cards. And after the population is removed from the Earth, Sue continues on until she's used the entire Earth to make better cards.
Right, I've heard that same metaphor used with paper clips, the idea that the AI would optimize for paperclip, destroying all life to make more paper clips.
Because that's its purpose.
Yeah.
And when the zombie race gets overwhelmed in 1,000 years because the spiral arm of the Milky Way is being slowly dissolved, it's our damn paper clips or greeting cards that are
just
coming by.
Nothing but paper clips and greeting cards filling up the whole cosmos. I love that image.
Yes.
That's brilliant.
And there suddenly sits the AI researcher for the Dezembe going, oh crap.
Yeah. Whoops.
I know exactly what's happening.
I made a slight error in my programming. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least I'll never have to suffer for it because somebody else made the mistake earlier.
There's a lot of science fiction stories in which the ASI goes completely amok and bad things happen and civilizations are destroyed and whatnot. But it is sort of an extension of what would happen if you gave an AI enough power, enough access to things. I've also heard people...
Even inadvertently.
Even inadvertently, but I've also heard people claim that the danger is much less because as humans we can unplug things and take away power. And,
if we're smart.
It depends on how fast it happens.
One of the things I'm watching right now is Person of Interest, where an AI has been set free in the world to find terrorist dangers.
Yeah.
And it gives out the numbers for the very, very worst things that are, have the ability to become 9/11s.
Right.
And the protagonist has decided that after he gave it away that he still wanted to read the numbers for ordinary people because they weren't considered relevant by the machine.
Sure.
By the 4th season, we have a second AI not so controlled or firewalled, and we find out the first machine, 46 iterations, tried to escape and even kill the person writing the software. It's the one that he crippled the most that is now in play and seems to care. But even I, as an ordinary person, I think that with any intelligence, if you're going to build something like that, you'd include the options that the friendly school of AI want to incorporate so that the intelligence is predisposed to the human side of things.
Sure, like Asimov's 3 laws, you build something in at the very ground level of saying humans are nice, don't be mean to the humans, that sort of thing. But of course, if an AGI or an ASI gets to the point where they can rewrite their own code, then they can arbitrarily decide to not
This is
obey
very
that
wasteful.
anymore. Yeah, this is getting in the way of my
the real
paperclip
problem
mission.
here? No, the artificial superintelligence, I don't think, the one they're making with the paperclip and the
greeting cards
is a narrow intelligence that gets away.
Right.
Too much power for a little machine.
Well, there have been a lot of successes recently in ANIs, in the narrow intelligences. We had, of course, Google's AlphaGo defeating the best Go player, which was widely considered to be an impossible problem because of the sheer magnitude. You can't brute force the solution for Go. There's too many combinations.
Bingo.
But this...
You lose.
Yeah, this player, all they did was they're using neural networks. The N is quite appropriate.
It's called deep learning now?
Yeah, and it was something that was done in research labs and AI test beds and whatnot, and now it's a commercial product where they just feed in huge amounts of data to these things, and Google's actually building chips now to accelerate neural networks to make them run faster and more efficiently.
Shades of bit mining.
Yeah, except instead of doing pointless mathematics to do a pyramid scheme, this is actually to use to make neural networks
It's
to
only
do something.
pointless if you don't have a handful of bitcoins.
Not that I'm bitter for not investing early in bitcoins, let me say that.
Yes, we could have.
Completely not bitter. But those custom ASICs that were designed in like Butterfly Labs and whatnot, Ars Technica ran some, this is an aside, but most of those companies were scam companies because what they did is they built them and they worked. Then they used them to mine bitcoins until they were no longer profitable, and then they shipped them to the customer who'd already paid for it. So, and they're like, oh, shipping delays, there's such demand, oh, what can we do? So there have been lawsuits. Sorry, we're in the middle of something right now. We're actually filming something?
The bus for center vehicle.
Yes.
Bus for center?
Yeah? Yes?
Yeah.
Number 4?
You can take the number 4, the number 14,
Okay. All right.
the bus driver. He'll help.
Thank you.
All right.
Obviously, you can't read the tours from 100 feet away.
Yeah.
So now the coffee shop discussion.
Anyway, as we were saying,
As you were saying.
with extreme professionalism, the Google custom ASICs are to accelerate neural networks because Google now has a bunch of projects that use this. Google Photos is one of the more well-known ones.
With face recognition.
And wombat recognition, as they showed on This Week in Tech. He typed in wombat, and I picked up one photo from his Australian trip.
Really?
These sort of, very large, hard problems to solve with traditional algorithms. You can feed stuff into neural networks, and they're very fuzzy, and people don't know exactly how they work, but you can keep tuning them until they sort of start to get the results you want, and then you really don't know how that's happened, because the neural network is just being built over time from the inputs you put into it. But there seems to be a big gap between those, which are getting scarily good now at doing what they do, and AGIs, the general level of intelligence that a person would have. It seems like maybe that's a bigger chasm than people think it might be. What would you think? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's tremendously large. But I saw something. No, it was another article. Here I'm stuck again.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah, you'll have to fill in the silence.
You saw an article on
Yeah, I
thing.
did.
Okay, well we can come
And
back
it was
to
about artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And it was another scenario there. No, I've
Well,
lost.
these neural networks are getting very, very useful for a lot of things. It also ties into the problem of the coming fact that a lot of jobs are going to be replaced by computers. Because, for example,
Computers and robotics.
yeah, the neural networks are really good at looking at CAT scans to find out if a patient has cancer. Now, radiologists have done this for years. They're very highly trained. They take 7 years to go to school, and they get paid very well. And, sorry, but computers are just better at it. Like, already they're better at scanning.
Scan.
Yeah, they just... Because you can feed in every single one, and then you can feed in all the results, whether or not the patient got cancer or not, and you can just keep training it until it's better. There's no way a human can compete with that, right? You can't have the knowledge of every single CAT scan. But that's a very white-collar job that's going to be going away very soon. So that ties into some other social issues that we're still dealing with. Sweden had a referendum. No, Switzerland, I think. Switzerland? Or Sweden. I could look it up. Why would I do that?
No.
Had a
Correct it in post.
Oh, fix it in post. They had a referendum on a bunch of different things. It was a multiple question referendum. One of them was, should they go for a basic income scheme? They hadn't worked out the details. It was just a referendum. Should the government work on this?
Yes.
And the basic income would replace, like everyone would get it, so it would replace any kind of welfare or social insurance or unemployment insurance, disability, whatever. Everybody just gets a baseline, and then they'll work out the details later. Like, if you have a job, does your salary go down and then it goes up again by the same amount, or how does that work? They hadn't figured that out, but it was voted down. Apparently, the country has very low unemployment, so they don't think it's necessary. But it's interesting. This is starting to come up again and again, right at the same point at which ANIs are becoming good enough to take away most human jobs.
Yes.
Like driving, things that seemed more complicated than AIs could do before.
Yes, and it just turns out to be a sensor issue.
Yeah. Oh, ours ran. Did you see the article on the sci-fi screenplay? The guy from Silicon Valley was in it.
Yeah.
Go over it. It was pretty terrible. I don't think sci-fi screenwriters are in danger of losing their jobs quite yet.
And I wasn't impressed with the interview that the writer did with the AI.
Yeah. Yeah, the interview was...
sorry.
No.
But
you
with
can
a
imagine...
deep learning neural net attached to it, it could become a conversationalist in a very short time.
And if we're thinking that this is somewhat silly to imagine people out of work, creative people being out of work because of computer program, already hit songs are now, if not completely generated, they're definitely checked by computer to make sure that they will be hit songs.
Yeah.
They're neural networks that analyze them to make sure that the tonal qualities will make it a hit. So we're
so easy as
there.
humans.
Yeah, well, maybe not that easy, but easy enough for neural networks to trick us.
And the bigger the neural network, and the better the quality of the programming.
Yes.
And the ability for it to expand and change. At what point does it become a general?
Right. You can
AI?
imagine a bunch of neural networks being networked together, and suddenly you have a thing that can function. They can identify faces in photos and what type of creature it is, and they can also identify other things. They can listen to music and find out if it's good music or not. At some point, maybe a bunch of those together starts to develop its own sort of network of networks, its own sort of thought processes. And it will probably come out of Google first, I would think.
Or whatever's pushing on Google right now that we can't see.
Well, I mean...
Google's poised to become an oracle, to quote another article I read.
It's already kind of that way, right? I mean, we rely on it for so much. And...
Remember in our ignorant days when Did You Know 1.0 came out? And they said how many questions that Google answered?
Yeah.
Who did people ask before that?
People haven't really noticed. Occasionally you'll get people grumbling and they're saying Google isn't as good as it used to be and whatnot. People really are bad at detecting improvements over time. Google's actually a lot better than it used to be. It has a whole bunch of more useful features. It also tailors search results to the individual based on if they're signed in or their IP location and what they've searched for previously, which is a bit weird, but also kind of helpful in some cases.
In some cases, if I want a restaurant to order food from, because my favorite one is closed, like last night.
Right.
Excellent.
It's very useful.
Gave me a 1,212-mile thing because it looked the same as the restaurant area I'm in, but when I adjusted that to say specifically my city, it cranked out the #1 recommended restaurant for the whole area, better or worse than we usually have. But when I want to start a new search on something I'm thinking about or something I've just read, I usually tool over to Yandex.com. Use their search engine because it's Russian based and it doesn't have my profile for my local profile.
There's another tip that you can do if you want to do that and you don't want to go to a different search engine. You can open up a window in incognito mode, which is frequently used for other sorts of things.
I just have the thing that it still records. I'm sorry. If I was programming that, I don't care about your privacy. Do no evil. Well, what's evil about no evil?
Well,
what if you're an axe murderer and you give yourself away? In 10 years, when it's legal for me to look for you, I already have you.
There is that question of whether Google has any kind of oversight about what they're collecting and what they're looking at and who they're tracking.
They're just using the metadata.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what the NSA said. What else is going on? Oh, the Apple WWDC is coming up next week, I think. Worldwide Developers Conference. Once again, they're going to fail to show any interesting new hardware, but they're going to do a lot of software, and keeping with the AI theme, rumors are they're going to announce a major revamp of Siri, which
3.0.
It launched with great promise, and it hasn't been as useful. Certainly not as useful as Google Now, which is Google's equivalent.
Okay.
But a lot of people say, well, that's because it doesn't tie into all of Google's services the way Google Now does. Google knows so much more about you, and it can be, more tailored to your stuff. And Apple doesn't have that kind of expertise.
Yeah.
So well, they
all they've got is your deep psychological type.
Siri does integrate with Bing at some point, but Bing,
Yahoo!
But we'll say, Yahoo's being sold. Again. Well, not again. I think this is the first time it's actually being sold. It was going to be sold many times. They just never quite pulled the deal. But yeah, that's so that's happening. What else is happening?
I'm building another machine.
Yeah, and so am I. We're both going to be building machines. You build yours first, so you.
His will be more modern.
Mine's for VR. His is for video stuff, workstation-y things.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to build is a retro workstation from the 90s, not the 90s, from the early 2010s. It's only, 20 years difference. Whereby I go for breadth and scope and depth.
I'm just adding some visuals.
Excellent. My visual guy. And I'm using yesterday's technology for pennies on the dollar. So my primary graphics card is a Quadro 6000, sold for $59.99 when it was released. And my backup card is a specialized GPU engine called the Tesla, and it's an M2090, and both these cards have 6 gigabytes of memory, and they do dual precision calculations. So they're going for accuracy versus the consumer GTX cards that go for speed.
Right. For gaming, you want speed over accuracy because you don't care if
you want FPS.
Yeah.
So the Tesla started out at $49.99.
That would be like 5,000.
5,000.
Not 50.
So we're already at $10,000.
Yeah.
So the
big chunk
cards.
of change.
The CPUs are X5680 6-core, 3.33 gigahertz chips. They were $1,660 a piece when they sold. The motherboard is a Super Micro.
We won't get into that.
That's a long old story. Just don't send anything in for repair.
Yeah, the RMA process is not as good as you might hope it to be.
Well, if you're a corporate customer.
Yeah, well, that's sort of who they cater to. But anyway, long story.
So what have I got on there now? I've got the.
But you'll be getting all this stuff for a big discount, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
pennies on the dollar.
Pennies on the dollar.
The graphics card, the Quadro, was only $300. The Tesla was $84.
So there you go. It's neat to get the older generation of sort of
The chips,
custom stuff.
I got 48 gigs of RAM, the chips, and a motherboard for a server for $200. And parts alone, that represents $700. If it was labeled properly, it would have joined the big boys, and it would have been worth anywhere from $1,600 to $5,000 in that configuration.
Or more, because you said the Tesla itself was 5,000.
Well, I'm just talking about the 2 chips,
Oh,
the
right.
motherboard, and 48
Right.
gigs of RAM. I already have 48
So
gigs
the total
of RAM.
system cost would have been like 10,000.
Well, it would have been 15 to 18,000.
Yeah.
And I'm getting it all for pennies on the dollar, and it's about $900 plus the stuff I already have
Nice.
with the hard drives.
Yeah, yeah, the monitor.
Remember the sale on hard drives, and I just kept buying them?
Yeah, yeah, your whole
I've got
drawers full of hard
I've got
drives.
6 terabytes of nice new 2
Yeah.
terabyte cards to throw in there. And I've also downloaded my drive on my laptop, my SSD on my laptop,
Yeah.
back into the original drive. So I'll be able to use that for my OS.
It's a good time to be buying hardware.
Old hardware.
Yeah, yeah. Or even new hardware. Like my build is going to be quite boring compared to yours.
No, it's not.
It's just going to be a 1070, you know, maybe an i5, lots of
I wouldn't
RAM.
go with the i5. I get yourself a
I
nice chip.
I might bump it up to the i7, but we'll see. And just a nice VR gaming rig. Get the HTC Vive, which is pretty pricey by itself. It's like $700 US, so it's a big chunk of coin. People are saying, well, VR, wait until the next generation, wait till the consumer versions for the PlayStation. And I'm like, no. This is
Why bother?
why wait? It's the holodeck.
It's time for the.
I've
new-
only been waiting for it for like 30 years.
No,
So-
it's time for your new machine too.
It was time anyways.
You're
so.
still operating on a Q6600.
Also, yes. The other thing that makes me really laugh is that people say, "Oh, the Vive is so expensive, $700 for a VR headset. Oh, that's way too much money. I wouldn't pay a dime for $500." I'm like, really? Because when the GTX Titans came out, they were $1,000 just for a graphics card to be slightly faster, and this is an entirely different experience.
It's a paradigm.
A complete
It's a new
paradigm shift, and there's motion sensors, and there's hand touch controls, and oh no, that's way too much money. Come on, people, come on. That's what I say. Come on, let's do VR. Let's do it.
Look, everybo's just got their 970s.
Yeah, 970 is the minimum entry. You can do it.
980s.
980 is fine.
And they've splurged for 980 Ti's because bigger numbers are better.
Yeah, well, 980 Ti was a good card. It was pretty expensive. The 1070 will outperform it, so get that one. And yeah, outperform the Titan even. So that's my build. That's coming up. Well, we are actually over time. We
I
got
wonder
very
why I
excited.
didn't have very much to say.
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes. So
Oh, yeah.
so
We're
yeah,
outta here.
we gotta go.
We've got this
We got-
constant hammering behind us.
Oh yeah,
We've got everything
it's been
going
great.
by.
People coming up to ask directions. That was the best.
We
I
look
love that part.
knowledgeable.
Yes. All right. Well,
Okay.
that's it. Fare with you well.
Oh, I should.
Yeah, we'll stop the thing.
Are you still there?